looking for something. A new way, a new understanding, a connection, some comfort. You've got questions, and Light on Living puts the spotlight on all the answers so you can shine. Lift and lighten the load of life's challenges and learn simple and easy ways to live a healthy, happy life. You'll gain insight and start to see things in a new way that motivates you. You're invited to hear new, see different, and feel more as Lisa shines the light on living.
Hello, good day, everyone, and welcome to Light on Living. I'm your host, Lisa Berry, and we're here for one reason and one reason only, is to give you reasons to feel better. We want you to feel better, and that doesn't mean feeling perfect. It doesn't mean feeling from one end of the spectrum to all the way to the next. It's just feeling a little better, because everybody on every day of their life starts off somewhere, and that's what we're reaching for. We just want to have a smile somewhere under, even if our lips aren't curling up, we want to feel that in our hearts. And as we continue, you are joining us here. We're continuing with the interview series for Magnetic Entrepreneur, the Female Leadership, and Robert J. Moore is the one who compiled all this and published this and pulled all these wonderful people together. And why he pulls these particular female leaders together for this is there's a certain rising that they've come out of in their life, under their circumstances, and what's been placed in front of them and what choices they've made. And the biggest and best choice for them lately has been to rise, to rebuild, to feel better, right? And they've shared their chapters in this amazing book. So many people, no matter what age, no matter what state they're in, can relate on some level to something like, oh, that's me. I feel like I'm there, and I want to be where they are. And so my guest today, very new to the entrepreneurial world, and I'm going to say congratulations, because congratulations for graduating high school. I know that was a big thing, and we're going to dive into that story, Alexa, and I'm going to just announce who you are. And we have our wonderful, very amazing young lady here, Alexa Louther. And she is one of the co-authors in this book. So if you guys want to pick up your copy, it's Magnetic Entrepreneur, Female Leadership. And you know what, Alexa, we haven't really touched too much on Light on Living on addiction, but I am so happy to have you here to be able to sharing this. I'm going to read your bio in a minute, but I want to just bring you on. I'm going to ask you right away, do you feel brave to be talking about this?
A little bit. It's definitely something that I didn't imagine myself doing. Mm-hmm. Because I was always everybody has been kind of taught in society that this is stuff that you just don't talk about.
Yeah.
And I think that a lot of people try and hide it, which is probably the worst thing that they could do, because it makes it so much harder to get better and to recover.
And that's a strong thing. So a lot of times we just, do you feel that we don't talk about it because is there shame or fear or what, like judgment?
There's definitely some stigma around it, because some people are taught that once you become an addict, that's all you are, and that you don't have any chance of living up to anything. But that's definitely not the case, because there is the recovery and there is the treatments and stuff that allow people to get better, live up to things.
You know, it's interesting you use the word addict and then talk about there's the recovery. And a lot of times we hear people say, I'm a recovered addict. And how do you feel about that term?
I'm not too sure. I know that I will always be an addict. I will always struggle with being able to say no when I'm put into situations where that has to become my priority of having the strength to say no.
Right.
But I also know that I have a wonderful support group, and as soon as people have that support network that they can have and use, and that it's just at their fingertips, basically, then like once they have that, then they're able to say no a lot more to.
Yes. Accountability, but not just accountability, like you're going to get in trouble if you don't, but that support. And you said it so perfectly in the beginning. You said, people aren't talking about it, but how do you get a support group if you're not talking about it? So I'm going to share your bio here with everybody. And then, because, you just have such, I really feel like I don't use the word courageous and brave a lot because I think this is how we all should be, but I really feel that way about you. I'm so happy that you're doing that. So everybody, let me introduce you to Alexa Louther. It's Louther. And Alexa Louther is a student leader in her school and demonstrates a strong desire to lead on a regular basis, as attested by her principal. She shows many positive leadership qualities and is a positive role model who quickly develops rapport with the elementary students transitioning to high school. That's a great place to start. She is a strong and determined person who advocated for herself and for her inclusion. She helps others gain access to opportunities and plans to be a strong advocate in the future for mental health. Alexa enjoys the responsibilities of business as evidenced by her job as an Alouette consultant. You are? I mean, oh my gosh, are they? I'm so excited. That's fun. That's makeup. Okay. I'm such a girly girl. I was excited. She enjoys assisting others, which is a great basis for a promising future. And so cool is that our next guest coming up, which is Mandii, we're going to be talking about brain injury, and so it's kind of all rolls into one, but you're coming from such a place. If you could just give us a little background about why this was so shocking that you even became an addict in the first place.
My friends and family, and even my support group regarding my mental health, mm-hmm. I was never one to even hang out with the group or to really get involved in any of their activities that they would do.
Right.
So it was very shocking for my mom to find out because she never raised me to rely on a substance. And, like everybody always said that, they couldn't believe that I struggled because I showed so much promise and I had so much to offer the world. And, I think that I was supposed to struggle like that. Mm-hmm. And I was supposed to go down that path because I was supposed to find the way out so that I could help other people find that way out. Addiction's a very tunnel, and some people get lost and some people can't find their way out on their own. And I think that to be an addict in recovery, once you find that light at the end and you find the way out and find the way towards living happy without it, then I think the best thing to do is to share how you did that and help somebody else.
When you said to find a way to live happily without it, I want to touch on that. But before that, there's something that you shared with me before, and I think it's really, really important to share because you had to tell your mom, and you found a different way of telling your mom. Can you share with us how you did that?
So I actually could not face my mom to tell her, and I knew that it would be hard. So I actually went to a trusted adult and told them what was going on, and they mediated a conversation with my mom, and they were the ones who kind of said it to her. But I was a part of it, and I was there, and I think that was the best way that could have went down because my mom can be pretty emotional when it comes to this stuff. When it comes to my health and
your welfare,
my well-being, and rightfully so because she's Mama Bear, and so to have another adult there, and to have somebody who knows a bit more about the addiction sit there and tell my mom about it, was definitely so helpful, and it took a lot of pressure off me.
Yeah. I love that you're sharing that, because a lot of people, anybody listening right now who is afraid to talk to the person that they do need to talk to about anything. It could be addiction to anything, and you even share with us, like, addictions can be anything. But when those words, when we can't imagine those words coming out of our mouth, but they're the words that we need to speak to get that help. I love that you were so, like, everybody, like, you're now you've graduated, but you're in high school. I'm just so happy that you found a way, and I want other people to hear that there's a way that you found. I'm jumping to this part, but where are the places? Is that what they should do? Just if they don't have a trusted adult, are there places to go to?
Definitely. So my family doc, he's been amazing to go to do about anything. Like, he hasn't. It's not like dealing with addiction. They can't force you to go to treatment. Mm-hmm. So you can't really be forced into something that you don't want to do.
Right.
So talking with your family doctor, they will give you the checkup of what you need to know, like, if your body's doing okay. Because sometimes with certain types of drugs, or, you know, like heavy use of alcohol, they can really be damaging to your body. It was amazing for me to see how much damage was done to mine.
Especially with you being so young, like, you're thinking, no, I got a new body. I got a new body with not a lot of damage on it, not a lot of miles here. Right?
Yeah. And you know, it was funny. It was, well, not funny, but it was odd to see how quickly my health was going, and how sick I was getting, and I was constantly fighting a cold. I was constantly not doing well. And there was moments where it even showed in my face how sick I was. And you know, my family doctor helped provide somebody to talk to. He wasn't a drug addictions counselor, but he provided me someone to go to that I could talk to that knew more about it than what my mom did.
Mm-hmm. In the bio there, it really shares that you, because you've seen it and been there, you would love to help the kids who are transitioning from elementary school into high school. When you look at kids around that age, you know, say they're 13 years old, 12 years old, 13 years old, and do you have any kind of like inside information or signs that we all could be looking or just be observing, that what does a kid look like who might be addicted or be down that path?
So my favorite thing to be on the discussion table is preventative.
Yes.
Looking at the kid who is definitely not overly involved with people at the school. So when I first started grade 9, I went in not having anybody to talk to or hang out with. Okay. So that was grade 9 was actually where I became addicted to smoking. Okay. So, and that was just because that was the friend group that accepted me more, and I didn't have to try to be a part of them. Right. Because they were so welcoming. They were so, I don't know, friendly towards me, I guess. And I didn't have to compete with anything, so my grades didn't have to be the best. I didn't have to be an A1 student to be there. And whereas most groups, you either have some rule or guideline that was unspoken, like that you had to be good in school, you had to be well educated, you had to know a lot, you had to be a good student, you couldn't cause any trouble. And, you know, I was struggling with mental health for a long time before I got into high school. And it sometimes got me into trouble because sometimes it would mean that I would have to advocate for different things that other people in my grade didn't have to advocate for. You know, I had to advocate for the right support with counselors. I had to advocate in order to keep counseling going.
Oh, wow.
It was ridiculous conversations I've had to have over the years that I never thought in life I would have to have. But, you know, I had to advocate for the right support. And near the end was where it got really tricky because I was getting to this age of, you know, transitioning out of high school, and they didn't want me to have all these supports to rely on.
Oh.
So I get where their thinking was, but they didn't want me to rely on these supports. But they definitely revoked it at the wrong time because this year I ended up facing a trauma that was big, and it was scary for me to deal with because it was something that I've never had to deal with on my own. And, so, you know, to be this student that was freshly traumatized at the beginning of the school year, and then to have all this support kind of moved around and revoked, it was very difficult for me to get any sort of education going. And so I had to advocate quite a bit, and I still didn't get to where it should have been. So
that's actually so unique that you're talking about that, about the timing of support, of, you know, and honestly, I see where you're coming from, and thank you for stepping up for not only just you, because you're advocating for your rights, but for every other student there, because you know what if you need it, you need it. And whether you're in grade 12 at the very end or 13 or whatever they call it now, they'll find the way next week, but they need it now. We have to live more in the moment of now, would you say?
Forget about like futuristic stuff or past stuff. If they're saying that they're struggling, definitely to step up and to get them the support that they needed was what schools should be doing.
That's actually huge.
To even find ways of, you know what, when you're in grade 12, you're planning to go off to college, or you're not, but definitely helping them mediate, like figure out supports for after high school would have been ideal, because giving them support in high school is great, but it ends after 4 years. So to have a meeting at the end of the year to discuss where they could go for help, or even maybe the school taking time to actually set these things up, knowing that they're going to fade out of this kid's life, they should be help and different support outside in the community. My school definitely had parts where they were really good, and that, you know, like at the end of this year, they helped me find support outside of high school. But they helped me look in wrong places. So now I have help within my community. But I applied to college, and they were the ones who kind of encouraged me to apply. I wasn't going to, but they had me apply to college, and when I got accepted, I got really excited.
Yay!
When I went to go hit the accept button and accept my offer, you know, I got realizing something. I don't have any support in that community.
You're having grade 9 fears over again here.
Yeah, so here's my grade 9 fear coming back. I don't have anybody. I don't have any friends that I know. I don't have any support set up. So how much educating am I really going to have to do in order to be happy in that school?
Oh my God, you have me on suspense. Did you hit apply or no? Or accept?
I actually have not accepted.
Because you want to feel good. You want to make sure that you can get those support systems in place. Because you know that you mentioned you're an addict, and you don't want to be in a situation where you don't have your support. Like, you are so self-loving. Good for you.
So I have actually went back towards towards my high school, and I told them my concern a little bit, And my response from them was nowhere near what I expected. Because after you're out of their school, they really don't have to help you, and it's hard to get them to help you.
Oh, darn it. Well, I hope somebody's listening right now that can offer. I'm actually going to do that invitation right now. If anybody else is in the situation, is a similar situation, or can offer any just comments, maybe you don't know, maybe you're thinking of an idea, jump onto Facebook for us. Go under Lisa Berry, Berry, that's for us. Or, you know what, go to Alexa's Facebook page. It's Alexa Louther, Louther. And I have a question for you, really important, because when we talked, I love that you did this, something that you do, and maybe it will even help you in this situation. You say that you have this future talking, this way of your mindset, placing your mindset in a certain time to get through things. Can you share that with us?
Oh yeah. So there's a way that I use this futuristic talking as a way to get through things. It's where you kind of envision where you want to be. Mm-hmm. And the outcome of a situation that you want, and then you start talking as if you already have it, or already have gone through it, or are already in it. So, for an example, I always use past tense when I'm talking about my addiction. Mm-hmm. So, like I used to use, or I used to rely on it. Mm-hmm. But I never really openly say that I am using, or I am a user.
Right.
It's in the past, and I don't want to go back to that. So if I start saying that I'm using, that opens me up a lot of paths where I could relapse or start using again. Right. And it kind of okays it in the brain.
Yes. Yeah. And the more you say it, the more you're validating. I think that's where I love that. So just to say that out loud is that when you speak about an addiction, you use the past tense. Because I want to make sure that came out so clear. I love that. So what are some things that and I love that you call it futuristic talking. Did you make that term up?
No. I don't know where I got that from. It's just
I love it.
I had somebody who I kind of look up to talking about this type of coping strategy or way of success. Mm-hmm. Once they talked to me about it and told me, that this is how you should talk, or this is how you should talk about these things, or maybe give this a try. Once they told me about it, I couldn't let it go, and I kind of adapted it.
I love that. So you've already given some, what I know you think, oh gosh, these are, they might sound so simple, but they're so important. So number one thing is to talk, to say it out, to get help, to talk about it to other people, awareness, really. Mm-hmm. And use the tips like, futuristic talking and making sure of that support. What are some things where do you see now that because you are in recovery right now, or would you say, what is the languaging of where you are right
now? So where I am right now, it's definitely a past tense.
Yay!
I did one of the hardest things I've ever had to do, which was to admit myself in the hospital, which for a long time I was refusing to do because I refused that I had a problem. Mm-hmm. I was like, nope, I am perfect. I am fine. I am doing just fine. This is the way that I'm just coping, and this is the way that I'm living. Right. And then it took me forever to actually come to the terms that this isn't even living anymore. This is just surviving. Mm-hmm. And so I was unable to, it actually took for the time that, for me to get clean, it took for me to come to a point where I just couldn't feel happy anymore. Right. So I could be a part of situations that were super exciting and super happy. And I would sit there and smile and laugh. But as soon as all that quiet happened, I was in my own head, picking myself apart and making myself more and more down. And then next thing you know it, I would do this whole cycle where something good would happen. I would talk myself out of thinking that it was good. And then I would use, and then I would come back to this. I would come back to not feeling happy, not being able to realize that the situation's good, and then it would just be a continuous, a vicious cycle.
It is. It sounds, and I love you, when we had spoken before, you used the word underestimated, and things can be so underestimated about how, just what happened. So I have to wrap up in a minute here, which sounds so crazy, but I want to make this huge invitation for people to reach out to you, whether, like I said, they themselves are going through something or they need help for somebody else. They want to reach out. So I'm just going to let people know that they can reach out to you. They can email you or Facebook you. Is that the best way? And it would be Louther, as with ALOUTHER @hotmail.com. And Alexa said anybody just wants to talk, just reach out.
Yeah. So anybody who know more or who has ideas, anything, I'm open to it all.
Yeah. And the best thing is to go get the book so that, Magnetic Entrepreneur, the female woman leadership. I always say female women leadership, and just read everybody's stories. But yes, definitely reach out to Alexa. Well, Alexa, thank you so much for being here. I so appreciate it.
Thanks for having me.
Okay, guys, stay tuned. We're coming back with our second guest. All right. We'll see you soon.
The best of the holistic, spiritual, and conscious world. OMTimes Radio. IOM-FM. OMTimes Magazine is one of the leading online content providers of positivity, wellness, and personal empowerment. A philanthropic organization. Their net proceeds are funneled to support worldwide charity initiatives via Humanity Healing International. Through their commitment to creating community and providing conscious content, they aspire to uplift humanity on a global scale. OMTimes, co-creating a more conscious lifestyle.
Have you bought into the idea that you have to work hard for your money, that business is hard? I will share some dynamic access consciousness tools to get you out of your own way so you can create a business that actually succeeds. Join me, Simone Millisers, on The Joy of Business at 4 p.m. Mondays Eastern.
Obstacles equal opportunities.
Are you living without success in your life? Are there obstacles that you need to overcome to create that success? Challenging circumstances, feeling vulnerable, afraid to be authentic, lacking or even feeling like you've lost your personal power. Light on Living has just the interview series to help you ignite your confidence and your personal drive to overcome whatever challenges you face. Join us every Monday in July to learn how these entrepreneurs overcame damaging business experiences, financial ruin, and personal hardships as they show you how to move forward with poise, grace, and insight. So get your copy of Obstacles Equal Opportunities Volume 2, The Enlightened Journey, and join us as we go live with these empowered authors.
Hi, it's Olivia Munn with my shelter pets, Frankie and Chance. Say hi, guys. When I adopted them, I discovered that they both have incredible personalities. Chance's sole purpose in life is to love and to be loved. Frankie is a little bit of a scoundrel and always entertaining. They're a little bit of a lot of things, but they're all pure love. Adopt pure love at theshelterpetproject.org. Brought to you by the Ad Council, the Humane Society of the United States, and Maddie's Fund.
Welcome back, everyone. You are listening to Light on Living. I'm your host, Lisa Berry, and we have our second co-author of today's show from the interview series of Magnetic Entrepreneur for the oh my gosh, I did it again. Woman Leadership. My gosh. My guest here is like, she's going, what is she saying over there? Well, first of all, Amanda, I want to say a big welcome before I jump into who you are and everything. So welcome, Amanda Renaud, to the show.
Thank you.
Oh, there you go. We had a powerful beginning, and just letting people know, you guys have all written your chapters because you've gone through such intense, even to you, it could be to everybody, maybe even to ourselves, like for different reasons, some incredible challenges and obstacles that have showed up along our journey, and that you've really taken them and done something that you want to be able to share with somebody else who might be struggling. And you certainly have that. So I'm not going to read the whole bio. It's a beautiful bio, but it's like a whole story in and of itself. But I'm going to read some of the important parts so we can jump right into this lovely interview and people can hear right from you, okay?
Okay.
Okay, so Amanda M. Renaud, and if you look her up on Facebook, it's Mandii with two I's, Mandii. It's just fun every time I type it. So Mandii M. Renaud is a young 31-year-old woman aspiring to be an author. Well, she is now. She was born in Toronto, Ontario, and currently resides in Tay Township. She is a recent graduate of the Child and Youth Worker Program, where she completed an advanced diploma in this field. She graduated with honors and hopes one day to write a book about her life and adversity. And there's going to be more on that, actually, you guys. She's had to face many life challenges and has overcome some significant trauma that has shaped who she is today. Now, I'm going to jump in and just say this right away, is that I am so happy to have you here because you experienced a car accident that created such brain injury that you had to, and I love this word, rebuild your life on many different levels. And I want to jump into there right now. First question, and if I know it is, but is it possible to rebuild your life at any stage?
Oh my God, yes. You can do it at any age, over anything that happens to you. You just have to keep a positive mindset and just remember you're a survivor.
Mm-hmm. I love that. And so if you can share a little bit, like what happened to you and then how did you keep that mindset to survive?
Well, I had left work one day and I got into a car accident. I wasn't driving, but a friend of mine was. And I got T-boned on my side, so I sustained some pretty heavy injuries. And after that had happened, I had a full team of like medical staff, and I worked really hard, and I did a lot of physio, a lot of counseling. I worked with a lot of professionals, and one thing that always stuck with me was just keeping that positive mindset. And how I did that was just finding things I was compassionate about and always fueling myself up. So always, searching for who I was and what I liked and doing things that I was compassionate about.
I love that you said about what I liked. Find out what I liked. A lot of people don't give themselves that time or that value, it matters what you like. When you had that accident, was your life fairly smoothly going along, or did you already have some challenges?
It was going really good. I mean, I was very young, and I wasn't sure if I was going to go to school or I was going to stay at the job I was at. So it was kind of like destiny kind of called and was like, no, this isn't going to happen. So you're going to go to school now and focus on you. And that's exactly what I did. So I was faced with a hard choice, and in the end, I did what I wanted to do. Because sometimes in life, you can get pushed to do different things, and you're not really sure about them. Mm-hmm. So I just stuck to what I wanted.
This is not going to be a funny joke at all, but it's like you bought yourself some time. You had to go that far, huh? Well, the universe hears what you want, and you don't get to pick how it's going to happen sometimes. But
no.
When just an interesting thing prior to that, when you said, sometimes life can push you into some things, and you just say yes because you're not taking that time. Do you think you might have taken made a different choice for yourself had you not had that time to get to know yourself?
I think so. I think I would have stayed at that minimum wage job, and I probably would have, just because I was comfortable. And sometimes we do that when we get too comfortable. We don't make the best choices for ourselves. We do what feels comfortable, and sometimes we need an extra little push in life to get to where we need to be, right?
Mm-hmm. Well, talking about push, it was years for you to do the rehab, right? Like it wasn't just like 5 months or.
It was like 9 years of appointments every single day, and really working on myself and getting to know who this new person was. Because I always say with brain injury, like you wake up and you're a whole different person, and you have to kind of relearn everything and relearn who you are again. Because sometimes that memory's not there. Mm-hmm. So that was a big thing for me.
That is so interesting. You know what? Did you catch we started off with Shirley, and she's, Robert's mom, and she wrote a chapter in the book, and she talked about that brain injury as well. No memory, loss of memory. How important do you think memory is when you're rebuilding yourself?
I think it's very, very important because, you rely so much on your memory every single day. You got to remember to do this and that and who you are and what you like. And, and that can be challenging when you have memory issues because, you just try to roll with the punchlines. But if you don't have that memory piece, sometimes it makes it a little more challenging, I found.
Yes. Now, were you? I'm sorry. Don't worry. Were you a mom, or did you have a family when the accident occurred?
I had a little boy. I have a little boy. He was just two at that age. So he was really, really little. So that was really hard for me, and it was hard for him too, right? Because when you have a little toddler, they're running around and they're busy, and you kind of rely on your memory and your organization skills, right? Yeah. Kids require a lot of that. So that was really challenging for me, but I was really lucky to have that support system in place. So
there's that support too. In our first half, we really, really talked about support. I think the message that's coming through even from you, don't even try to do things on your own. It's like, how cool is it to have, this is why I love anthologies and compilation books. Well, now I have to say, we did announce that you are working on your own solo book.
Yeah, I am. I'm working on a book. It's called Through the Darkness, and it's going to be about what happened and how I overcame everything. And I'm hoping to have it out by October, so that's around the timeline that it's going to be released. So I'm really excited to share this story with everybody and share how I was very adverse through everything, so I'm looking forward to it. I can't wait for people to read it, and hopefully they can take something from the book with them.
I believe they will. There was a word that came up when we were talking before, which was resilience. And I really had fun with the word rebuild. I don't know why. I just I love that word so much because, every day we wake up and we do have a choice that we can rebuild or be resilient or not. And so do you think every day, do you look at like that you're doing that every day, just choosing to, or does it just come naturally now?
Well, self-care I like to put the word self-care with resilient because it's an ongoing process. It's continual. You have to work on that every single day, and you're going to have good days and you're going to have bad days, but you got to remember how you made it through the good days. And that's really important when you're dealing with resiliency and self-care, because sometimes we can neglect, our self-care piece to ourselves, and that becomes problematic. So it's an ongoing process, and it's just, you want to always be working at making yourself better every single day. And how I did that was just basically, finding things I was so compassionate about and things that, made me feel empowered. And I was always looking for things that inspired me. So I found that really helped me.
I'm dying to ask you this question because I'm thinking about self-care and like what are on people's to-do list. What is one or a few things that you do now absolutely without fail for your self-care that you would not or weren't doing prior to this?
Reading and writing. After high school, I lost my compassion a little bit because, when you're done school, it's not a skill you're really, exercising on the daily. But I really loved reading and writing. And when I went back to college, I kind of felt that was a big thing for me because it helped me find that compassion again. And after my accident, it was the only way that I could really get everything I was thinking down because there was so much going on inside my head. And that really helped me with everything.
I love that I'm hearing that word of expression. Like I need to express, like how do I get it out of me? And then you were able to learn the tool. And again, support, getting your voice out somehow, even if it's in your head, we still need a place to put it, right?
Yeah. And I found writing it out was the most helpful thing because it really just helped me organize my thoughts. And when I wrote, I felt empowered. I just felt like, oh my goodness, I can make it through this as long as I have my pen and my paper. So that was really important for me.
It's like a plan. When you write, I write in pictures. So if I hear something, I'm like, you're right. If I'm getting like a creative business idea or something that I want to do or something, I have to grab a piece of paper and just draw it out, right?
Yeah, sometimes our minds get so busy. Yeah. So it's always really helpful. It's always helpful to just organize everything and really, and you can go back and reflect on that, where was I when this was happening, So it's always like that piece of, it's just like that piece of memory, that you have forever. So that was really my saving grace when I had went through everything.
So that was one of your self-care tips, and I love that you actually bring up reflection because you're right. It can create a celebration or a fire under your butt because you can go back sometimes and go, oh my gosh, I never did anything with that, or oh wow, look at that, I did that, and now I've done this. But, what you actually deal with quite a few projects in your life, whether it's because of that or just who you are now, but you really work in like a no limits kind of vibe. So whether it's an abundance, what is your take on abundance? What does abundance mean to you right now? Because you have this life now, you can just go with it.
Well, abundance is huge because it's one of those things where, when you have big projects or you're, trying to excel in life, you have to keep going no matter what. And you have to be, you have to have a sense of gratitude. So when I talk about abundance, it's more or less, how much motivation and how much you're going to put in, and you always have to keep giving and giving. And that's a big thing for me. So I'm always very, grateful for everything, and I keep working at things. So if I don't get it the first time, I go back and I try it again. So I found that was really helpful.
You know what? I love that there's that resilience, right? You just keep going back. What could you offer somebody who maybe is a little low on the resilience meter and just goes, a question that you just said came up to me is what keeps you going no matter what? What could somebody dig in or what could they look for? What are they trying to learn about themselves?
So you have to go back to where you started. So remembering why you wanted that goal in the first place, why you wanted to achieve that. Sometimes you have to go back to the beginning to get to the end. So that's a really important thing because, when we set goals, sometimes we may not make them attainable or they may not be timely or things like that. But I always go back, why did I want to achieve this goal? What was it about this goal that I wanted so badly? And then that always helped me stay focused and on task. So that's an important piece of information.
You know what? That is extremely well shared. I have to tell you something funny, more personal is that in the last 3 weeks, I've had to do quite a few more projects than I normally do, and you get overwhelmed, like, oh my gosh, there's so much to do. And you know what, I asked myself that exact question to keep me going. I was like, okay, wait, why am I doing this? And you know what, it was like I was a balloon and somebody just blew the air back in me, like, whoosh, oh, right, and it was helium air to gas, right? So I was like, ready.
That's great.
It's when you forget why, or you just start doing to do, I find is that you start getting more like that irritability creeps in, or the memory forgetting, or the grumpiness, and like that. Can you imagine me grumpy? Isn't that an awful thing, a grumpy Lisa? But, so, and I think that's important so you go, okay, so where's my beginning? Now, so what do you, like with your whole world right now, are you a coach? Do you coach people?
I'm not in the coaching industry yet. I'm a new author, so I'm just learning the skills that I need. I'd love to coach one day. I think it's amazing. I think there's so many people that are coaching right now, and they're offering amazing things, and it's something that I'd love to get into. I haven't gotten there yet, so. I mean, it's something to think about. Yeah, cool, for sure.
Well, it's interesting when you say about coaching. I am a certified life coach. This is years ago I graduated, and I remember the most coolest thing that I learned about like coaching is that you don't actually fix anybody, but you are there to hold space for them while they learn themselves and figure out themselves. And you, young lady, had said something to me during our pre-call, and it said, one thing that's really important to do is to take ownership of your own growth. So I'm quoting you. But explain it, because right now some people are like, well, no, there's so many other people holding me back, and there's so many, this person's doing this, and the financial funds aren't here for me there. So what do you mean, and how can you help somebody to take ownership for their own growth?
Well, I think in life it's really easy to be complacent, right? And we become complacent to our thoughts, and we're not very kind to ourselves sometimes. So when I say take ownership, I mean, like you have to take responsibility and control your own mind, because sometimes we can fall into the trap of the blame game, right? And when we take ownership of our choices and our thoughts and our behaviors, we create an awareness, right? And when we create an awareness of how our thoughts and our emotions are impacting us, we can say, hey, this is my mind, and it's not being very kind to me right now, and we can shut it down faster. So when we take ownership, we take responsibility that we are in control, that we are driving our own bus, and that no matter what anybody says or does, that it comes back down to us, like it comes back on us, right? And when we take ownership, we're able to make those changes, because we're not easily controlled by other things around us, right? By elemental forces. So when we take that ownership, we do ourselves a big favor, because what we do is we're saying, I am responsible for the way that I think, the way I behave, and the way I feel. And we are able to make those changes faster. So I think that's really important when, you're setting goals and you're trying to make changes in life, because we have to just realize we can't control everything. We can only control ourselves.
You did mention, I love that you said we are the only person who can make those changes. Something that's so important that you just wrote, like there's this bubble word that you just bubble wrapped this whole thing in, and I love that you did. And I just got an idea. You used the word to be kind, like to be kind to yourself. And at times we can't, can get into a thing of like we're not being kind. And so that word really jumped out a few times. And I thought, what would be really neat is if when we were to sit down to do our a list of things to do or goal setting, but we really do it from kindness. Not like you better get this done because you're going to be a big loser if you don't, but always just come at it from a kindness thing. So what are some goals that maybe you have that I know there have kindness on the foundation of them, but like what are you thinking in the next year that you'd love to see?
I would love to see my book out, and I would love to see, of course, I'm working on self-esteem, because after you have something very traumatic happen, sometimes that takes away from your self-esteem a little bit. So I'm working on self-esteem right now and being
Actually, why do you think
myself.
that? I'm dying to find out that. Why, if something traumatic happens, like in your situation, a car accident, or was it more that you got injured? Why?
It was
why do you
a
think?
little bit of injury, and I felt a little deficited. Like I felt like, I can't do this anymore the same way I used to, or I couldn't. Just basic skills, like they were impacted a little bit. So I found that I wasn't being kind to myself when I spoke that way in my head, right? And I realized that was poisonous to me, because what happens is when you go through stuff like that, we kind of tear ourselves down a little bit at times. And you gotta, that inner voice, that consciousness, you've always got to retrack it and just, think about, I may not be the best at this anymore, but I do really well at this. Or, I'm able to do this, but I'm a little bit slower. Or, you got to look on the positive side of it. And I found that when I first had the accident, I wasn't very kind to myself at all, right? And it took years to get to where I am now. So it does take time, but you just got to change that inner voice a little bit to a more positive style.
And do you surround yourself with positive people?
Absolutely. You got to be around people who make you feel good and who notice the good in you, right? Because if you're hanging around negative people, you're going to have this you become complacent, right? And you just kind of pick up their kind of moods and behaviors, and it does impact you quite a bit.
You know what really exudes from you right now? I'm so feeling it is you are a true advocate for leadership, because what I hear constantly through like the underlying message is that step up and out of complacement, step up and out of just getting comfy with minimum wage and paying your bills, like be more, shine. Like that's all. You are in the right book. I'll tell you that. Oh my gosh! Which I should mention again. Just I love to say the title so many times. The Magnetic Entrepreneur. And do you feel like you're leading now? You're the leading lady of your life and others.
I do. I've actually felt really good about everything I've done in the last 6 months, and I feel amazing. I'm meeting my goals. I'm doing different things every day. I'm challenging myself, and that's important to me. It's very important, because when you stop challenging yourself, that's when things, lose interest in the things around you. I feel like that's a continual cycle where you need to challenge yourself all the time, and because that helps you feel better about things, right? And it has that unstoppable attitude, where if you can challenge yourself, you're doing things that are making you feel good and you're meeting your goals, it makes for a better life all the way around, I feel like.
Oh, I think you're right in that. And something that you've said so many times, that you really want to find out what is my passion and where is it? And when you went to school, you went, oh, wow, yeah, I want to, the reading and writing is really where my passion lies. And I think that when we remember to align with our passions to keep us, that will help us with our goals. Is there something you'd like to, we're excited for the book. It's called Through the Darkness, and we're expecting October-ish. Can anybody right now, what would be an invitation for you to anybody listening and who would like a little bit more of you?
I would just say, sorry, I'm not sure what you're asking.
Oh, just would they connect with you just to make sure they get on the list to get your book, or just right now is the invitation for them to pick up the Magnetic Entrepreneur and read the chapter?
Yeah, just add me to Facebook. I have Instagram and everything like that, and I'm constantly posting updates about when the book's coming out. And I have a lot of people that are really interested right now, so they've been following my Facebook and my Instagram, and they're patiently waiting for me. So I'm working endlessly on this. I've been up quite a bit at night trying to get everything done, because I'm also working part-time as well. So I've been really busy with everything. So, yeah, just follow me on Instagram or my Facebook. And
is it Mandii? Amanda or Mandii? Mandii Renaud, Mandii, Renaud, Renaud. And you can pop on there, Facebook and everything. And do you have the cover released of your book yet? We can even see a picture?
Not yet. I'm gonna, that'll probably be in the next couple weeks. So
okay.
I'm still working away on it. I want it to be perfect because it's my first solo book. So you know how that goes.
Yes, your baby. Yeah. Well, everybody listening, whether it was from a car accident, whether it was whatever injury you've gone through, maybe it's something with brain injury or just something where you do want that little bit of motivation to help keep you supported in being your leader of your life, I would love for you to reach out to Mandii. So, Mandii, thank you so much for being here today. You've just been a fabulous guest.
Thank you so much for having me, and it was a pleasure being on your show, and I'm very, very happy with everything. So thank you so much.
Oh, you're welcome. Now, everybody, be sure to tune in next Tuesday, same time, 12 p.m. Eastern, for as we continue with Magnetic Entrepreneur for Women Leadership. Saying it properly this time. Thank you, Robert J. Moore, for doing this. Thanks, everybody. We'll see you next week. Bye, Mandii.
Bye.